Hey everyone, my name is Alex. I like to make things, and today I'm going to make a Scizor statue. First, a quick sketch and laying out a couple goals. I really want Scizor to look like it's using bullet punch, I want a glossy red coat, and lastly, I want the tree to explode, giving the scene a sense of motion. Shouldn't be too hard. Let's get started. Starting with Scizor, I got the model from this cool site where data miners upload files and assets from some games. They have a bunch of stuff and they're super easy to download and play around with. I linked the site in the description. I started by splitting up the model and adding in extra detail using the included texture. Using these as a guide, this made modeling Scizor's abdomen and neck areas much easier. The model also has a digital skeleton called an armature. This helps pose the model, and after a few tweaks, it's ready to go. Of course, I had to make a lot of changes to make sure it's ready for 3D printing. I also added in this tube going from Scizor's foot all the way into its claws. This will give the sense that its claws are empowered. Once I add the LEDs, it'll look like it's using a bullet punch. And with that, the modeling is done, and off to the printer. The slicer I use is Statue-Dex, and the printer I have is an Elogu Ultra Saturn 4. And while that's printing, let's get started on the base. I like to use these small wooden discs as the base to these statues to keep them all looking uniform. Plus, the rounded edge makes it look fancy. I'm also using a sheet of XPS foam I picked up from the hardware store. I drew on a rough shape, and using my hot wire and box cutter, I freed the chunk from the sheet. Continuing to use my hot wire cutter, I add some rough shapes and cut chunks of foam out of the main piece. I also managed to reuse some pieces. Once I have a rough carving of the foam, I glued it down to the base with some hot glue. Next up, I start carving out the tree. This was 2 sheets of XPS foam I glued together and I rolled out into a cylindrical looking tree shape. I glued the tree down and added in some wires to give the tree that bend. With that, Scizor is done printing. I printed him in all clear resin so the claws can glow and I could follow the tube that I modeled inside of Scizor with the wires. A little bit of clear resin got stuck inside that claw, so I'm going to go ahead and drill that out. But first I'm going to go ahead and bathe all of these in isopropyl alcohol and clean them up with my snippers and UV cure them. While all that cures, I'm going to use my drill to open up this claw piece to get all the excess resin out of it. This got trapped inside during the printing process, but I don't need it in there. I'm also taking this moment to repair the leg that unfortunately broke during the printing process. This was easy to fix with some UV resin. Also some sanding and cleaning up of claws to help fit them onto the arms. And with that, he is ready for sanding. I started with 150 grit sandpaper to remove the small layer lines and continued up to 400 grit to make sure the surface was smooth. I did this to all the pieces, making sure to preserve the new details I added into the model. I took extra care on the wings and the claws to get rid of any sandpaper scratches, as these parts will remain clear. I cleaned up the inside of the claws with my Dremel to get them ready for the LEDs. The LEDs I'm using are some super small pre-wired LEDs that work perfect for this project. I twisted 3 of them together to make a bulb for each arm and fed the wires through with the help of some fishing line. And I'm happy to report the lights work. I knew the right arm was going to be a problem because of the bend. I could get the wires about halfway through before they met some sort of resistance. So I decided to snip off the arm and remake it later. I fed the wires through with another fishing line and it turned out perfect. It's later, and to remake Scizor's right arm, I'm using Milliput. It's a 2-part epoxy putty that once cured, I can sand down and it will resemble the rest of the model. Using my sculpting tools, but mostly my hands, I'm taking the Milliput and I'm forming it around the wire that I put into the arm. Here I'm separating out the super small wires, getting them ready to wire up to the small 3-volt battery pack. With the claws on, the lights really do look great. And I made a small hole in the base where the battery pack will fit. Once I was certain the LEDs were working, I went ahead and glued on the claws using super glue and super glue activator. This finished off the model, and let's move on to the terrain. For the terrain paste, I like to use Perfect Plaster, some water, Mod Podge, and some acrylic paints. I paint this onto the foam base not only to add organic looking rock texture, but this coat will help protect the XPS foam from spray paints and certain glues that would cause the material to dissolve. So yeah, kind of an important step. While the terrain paste is still wet, I can add small rocks and details to it. This helps it just bake into the actual model itself and I don't have to glue it on later. And while this dries, let's get to painting Scizor. For this project, I stopped by my local hobby store and picked up some Vallejo airbrush paints. I started by lightly spraying this light metallic sterling silver color. This paint went on fairly translucent, which ultimately helped diffuse the light. Exactly what I was hoping for. After I'm done with the claws, I mask them off so I can start on Scizor's Hot Rod Red paint job. For this, I'm using a mix of Vallejo's game colors Scarlet Blood and Ruby Red of the true metallic metal colors. This was my favorite part, seeing this metallic red get added to Scizor. It really brought the project together and really inspired me to keep going on the project. That looks so good. This color also got added to the wings, and I was careful to mask off all the clear parts. And there he is, with his glowing claws! It looks so good. It looks great on camera, too. And with that, we can start painting the details. Hey, thanks for making it this far. I really appreciate it if you gave this video a like and subscribe to my channel if you're enjoying this content. It's free, and it helps show more people this video. There's also this new feature to YouTube called Hype. Clicking that is another way to boost smaller channels and newer videos. Give it a shot if you have the feature. Thanks again, and back to the video. I used Citadel model paint to paint the rest of Scizor's details, including the abdomen and the eyes. I covered the eyes in a UV resin and cured that to make it nice and shiny. Here I am masking off the stripes for the wings, and I am just carefully filling them in with some black paint. Once the wings were finished, I went ahead and glued the wings into the holes I modeled into Scizor's back. And that is the finished paint job. Next was finishing up the base. I realized that the tree was a little too short, so here I'm adding a small little spacer. I'm using Scizor to make sure the spacing is correct for his fist to fit in. Once I got the spacing just right, I glued it in place. This then had to be covered up with more terrain paste, which was good because I wanted to build up more detail around the tree, make it look a little bit more organic. After the terrain paste was dry and a black spray paint coat, I went ahead and started dry brushing along the rock with some light grays and tans. Dry brushing on some white for some highlight, then finishing up with the base coat of the tree. And that's the base coat of the base done. Next step is to add some mud. I'm mixing in some brown acrylic paint with some brown dirt that you can get from the hobby store. I also added some Mod Podge to it to help loosen it up and help it like run into some cracks and everything. It turned out pretty well. I'm filling in some mud around the tree and then around this hole that I'm going to put Scizor's foot in, which should help blend Scizor into the base of the model itself. Next step was to add some static grass. I'm just pouring this on and trying to turn the base upside down and try to get the grass to stand up as straight as possible. I glued Scizor on the base off camera, but that's a better look of the grass. Next, I'm using this small lichen you can get from the hobby store, and I'm painting it brown and I'm gluing it onto the bottom of this base, like their roots spreading out of the rock. Our final goal is to make our tree explode around Scizor's empowered punch. For this, I found some good dried sticks and branches from my backyard and smashed them up with a hammer to make these tiny shards and splinters of wood. I'm using super glue and some super glue accelerant to hold everything in place. To finish up the tree and blend together the newly added shards, I mixed up one more thick batch of terrain paste. But first, I realized my tree wasn't looking very tree-like, so I decided to add larger roots around the base of the tree, thicken up the trunk, add knots, and eventually dab the surface with a dry brush to add textured lines before the paste dried. The last step is to paint the tree and add some extra details. I started by applying a thinned down glaze to the plaster with a reddish tinted paint. I continued to layer this up and add more brown to each layer once I got a good tone. Once the tree was painted, I added some Mod Podge to select areas and added on this moss texture. This stuff is made out of finely chopped up foam, but it resembles moss pretty well. Okay, final step is to actually add craft foam to the bottom of the base. This makes it look nice and cleans it up. Now it's time for some beauty shots. Thank you so much for watching. If you watched this all the way through, I really appreciate you. I'll be posting finished shots and stills from the making process of each statue on my ArtStation, Instagram, and wherever I link down below. Be sure to check them out. I haven't been able to make a video like this in a long time, but I think I found a good workflow that'll allow me to create more content like this. That being said, please do me a favor and like this video, subscribe, and hit the hype button if you haven't. It's all free and it's the best way to support me and my channel. Leaving a nice comment also helps inspire me for my next video. Share your favorite Pokemon and any ideas you have for a cool statue you have down below. Now without further ado, let's add Scizor to our Statue-Dex and wrap up this video. Be sure to check out the rest of my Statue-Dex by clicking this playlist right over here, and subscribe to keep updated on my next video. Until next time, keep creating.